Sand from the pet store, pool filter sand, black diamond sandblasting sand. What's safe to use? What's the benefits? Let's get right into it. Now we all know that the price of the sand in the pet stores are very expensive. I think it's like 20 bucks for like 20 pounds. I only have one tank that I have that sand in, and it's my 125 gallon Oscar tank. And it took about $185 to just put the sand in that tank. For the rest of my aquariums, I went with black diamond sandblasting sand and pool filter sand. You get 50 pounds for $11 to $12 depending on where you're at. So, needless to say, all my aquariums have the black diamond sandblasting sand or the pool filter sand with the exception of one, and I'm slowly going to phase that out. I'm going to give you a little bit of differences between the the black diamond sandblasting sand and the pool filter sand, and put to rest any worries or anything. So here, I'm going to start with black diamond sandblasting sand because I've heard a lot of people worried about it being too sharp or whatever. It's an awesome sand. It's black sand. You get a lot of black sand for cheap. Now when you bring it home, you open the bag up and you got to make sure there's a couple different types of that sand you can get. I get mine at Tractor Supply. You'll see a red bag and you'll see like a black bag. Okay, the black bag is the one you want. The red bag is way too fine. When you get it home, it turns into mush. It's just no good. It looks like graphite color. That's not the one you want. That's a finer grain. You want to get the black bag, and that's the perfect sand you want for your tank. I have no issues with it being too sharp. My cory cats, my plecos, my fish scoop it up in their mouth, spit it out. When they're searching for food, it does not harm them. They have no sores, no cuts, no abrasions. Nothing. They're fine. So we can put that to rest. I've been using it for a while and it does not harm the fish. The bag will tell you not to get the sand wet. That's only if you're actually going to use it for a sandblaster when you're wanting to strip paint off something. Furniture, an old metal bench, whatever. Something, the paint on your car. Then yes, you don't want to get it wet. But you can, once you clean it and you get it wet and you put it in your tank, you're going to have no issues, and it does stay black for a nice long time and it looks good. Now I did have a couple bags where I was pulling little metal bits out of it. I took a magnet through it several times, but I gave up. That's going to be like brushing the fur off of your cat. It's a losing battle. You can make another cat by the time you're done brushing all that fur off. But anyways, so I gave up on that, put it in my tanks, and I've had no issues with like rust. I've had no issues with metal toxins. It doesn't hurt anything. It's fine. My water parameters are great. My fish are happy, healthy, and I have a lot of sand for very cheap that looks great. And as far as plants go, I've got Amazon swords. I've got water sprite, Anubias. Of course, you don't really put Anubias down in the sand. I like you put that in like holes of dragonstone or driftwood to make it grow. And I don't use any liquid fertilizers, and if you follow my channel and you see my video, my plants look good. They're great. They're growing and they're down in the sand. Moving over to the pool filter sand is the same thing. You get a little bit more, well, not a little bit, but more of a natural tan color with the pool filter sand. There's no issues with using it. It looks great. Gives your tank a different look. It all depends on what you want and what you're going for. In the end, that's your decision. And it grows plants just as well. And my plants are doing great just from the ammonia that the fish expel after eating and when they breathe. And everything's going great. I have no issues. I just purchased, shout out to Silver Creek Aquatics, I just purchased some plants from him. He sent them out yesterday morning. This is Wednesday morning, and when they get here, we're going to check them out and do a little video on that and give Silver Creek Aquatics a shout out. He was very prompt on getting there, but we'll save this for that video. But anyways, one more thing to know about this sand is when you get the PetSmart sand, the Petco sand, it's lighter. It floats up into the water column easier. Therefore, it's going to get into your filters much easier. So you're going to have to use a pre-filter with that sand. Especially if you have fish like Oscars and Mbunas, or a lot of fish do it. Goldfish, they're always searching for food and look around. Sometimes they just like to play in that sand, and it plumes it up, and then the filter sucks it in. With a hang on the back filter and a canister filter, either one, if that keeps happening, it will damage the impeller, or the grits will get in there and get it stuck, and it'll stop and just sit there and overheat and warm the water up. You don't want that, obviously. So you're going to have to use a pre-filter with that sand. So it's more expensive, right? And it gets into your filters a lot easier. With this Black Diamond sandblasting sand and the pool filter sand, it's heavier. It doesn't plume up and float into the water column as easier. So I don't have to use pre-filters for that sand. Now, if a fish is right there by the inlet, digging around and it's kicking sand up, you still have the chance of getting the sand in the filter. Excuse me. Sand in the filter. But I can take apart all of my filters, hang on the backs including, compare it to the FX6 I have in a 125 gallon tank, and there's like next to no sand in those filters. Just a little bit, but it's not like it is in that FX6 in that tank, and that's with a pre-filter. So that's just another benefit of using the cheaper sand, along with cost, obviously. So yeah, that's it. Just wanted to give you a couple tips on that sand and put the rest any words. If you have any questions, leave comments below, and let me know your thoughts and what you guys use. And that's if you want to use sand, obviously. If you want to use gravel, great. Gravel's cool. Gives the tank an awesome look as well. But I veered away from gravel, and all my tanks are sand except for one now. And that's just because of the maintenance is easier in the tanks when you use sand. With gravel, you have to take your gravel back and clean the entirety of the tank, left to right, to get all that uneaten food and detritus out, because it goes down through the rocks and sits on the glass at the bottom. With the sand, everything sits on top. You just take your hose and you go braze it over the top, and it gets all that uneaten food and poop out, and you're done. Water change, fill it back up. It takes much longer. It costs much more water to maintain a gravel tank, but if you're fine with that, that's up to you, because a gravel tank looks really nice as well. Get that river look, or whatever you're going for, or whatever biotope you want. But I personally love the sand because it makes life easier, especially when you have multiple tanks. You got one or two and you want one sand, one gravel, that's an awesome look. I think, hey, do it. But when you got 10, 11 tanks to do, it's much easier to just work with the sand. So cost is better. It doesn't harm the fish. It grows plants. It doesn't float in the water column. And I think you'll find it a lot more enjoyable to use those sand. So, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you guys use, what you think of this video, and if it was helpful. Okay. All right. Until next video, guys. I'm going to be putting that video out about Silver Creek's aquatics plants. So I'll see you on that one. Thanks, guys. Bye.